Live via satellite from Hollywood and all across North America, it's Rockline, the show where you interview the hottest stars in rock and roll. Hello again, I'm Bob Coburn. Rockline is brought to you by Labatt's Blue. It's the way we play. Tonight, Rockline is an evening with Brian May and Roger Taylor of Queen. So get your questions ready and call us toll-free in the U.S. and Canada at 1-800-344-ROCK. That's 1-800-344-7625. One number toll-free from anywhere in North America. I want to take a moment and say thanks to Rita Wilde for filling in for me last week while I was under the weather. Great job, Rita, as always. Never before has there been a blend of such flamboyance, brilliant musicianship, outrageous theatrics, and just plain old good songs as there is with Queen. And tonight we'll play a selection of new songs from the just-released Innuendo CD, as well as some of your old favorites. But more importantly, we'll give you a chance to talk with Queen's guitarist, Brian May. Good evening.
Hi, Bob. Great to be here.
Great to have you back. And also the drummer for the band, Mr. Roger Taylor. Welcome back.
Good evening. Great to be here, Bob.
I got to ask you this right off the bat because your North American fans are starved to see you live. Are you going to tour this time? My gosh.
We hope so, yeah. I mean, the signs look good, but we still have to persuade Freddie that he actually wants to be out there. Maybe we can talk about that later.
Now, how long's it been? It's been a long time.
Well, the last time...
9 years, I think.
9 years?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Shame, the shame.
How did it get to be that long? How's it been that 9 years went by?
Well, we went to a lot of other countries. We went to South America a few times and stuff. And it got to be a habit not coming here.
Change your habits. Let's talk about Innuendo, the new one. You produced it along with David Richardson. I guess he is the regular engineer at your studio in Switzerland. Is that not the case?
That's right. He's kind of our in-house guy. He's very good.
And obviously lends a lot to the band that you feel comfortable in doing albums with him and whatnot.
Yeah, we have a lot of confidence in him, and he started off as being the engineer, but now we use him as a sort of fifth member of the band in there. Yeah, we use him to bounce off.
For the second time in a row, everyone in the band contributed to every song. It was literally a group effort. Is this going to be the trend for Queen as the years go by?
Well, we started that on the last album, The Miracle, and we found it was just the best decision we ever made in a way. It removes all the ego things that get in the way of making decisions on merit, of songs.
Sure.
And people aren't worrying about, hey, this is my song, it's better than your song, and whatever the single is, it's credited to everybody, and everybody contributes to each song. So it's really worked out well for us.
Pride of authorship can be a sticky thing sometimes.
That's right. It breaks up groups. So it was a great idea, as Roger says.
Now, the first song that's released here in certainly the U.S. and I believe Canada too, Headlong, is not the song that was released first in Britain, which was the title track, Innuendo.
That's right.
Why choose two different songs for different locations?
Was kind of as a result of our feeling that was fed back through the record company here. They thought that Headlong would be the easiest to break into the AOR situation here. The other track, Innuendo, seemed to be a natural single for England, and in fact it went in at #1 in England last week.
That's right, debuted at #1.
Yeah, so we're pretty thrilled about that, and it looks very good in Europe. I think it will be the second single in the States.
Now, I hear raves about the video for Innuendo. There is no video for Headlong currently, though, is there?
There is, but we're still messing with it. This is the truth.
Ah, so you have
we do a lot of messing around. Yeah, we have. Yes, it's hiding away somewhere.
Actually, the Headlong video is basically a performance video, which is a much more straightforward animal than the Innuendo video, which is a very involved, state-of-the-art kind of video.
Oh, until the video for Headlong is available, let's listen to it the old-fashioned way on the radio, on Rockline. This is Queen. Headlong by Queen, and that, of course, is from the brand new one, Innuendo. By the way, every caller who gets on the air with Brian and Roger from Queen tonight will receive an autographed copy of Innuendo, the latest CD by Queen, courtesy of Hollywood Records. We're taking a time out. We'll be back in a moment, and hopefully you'll join us. The number is toll-free, 1-800-344-ROCK. It's Rockline. Welcome back to Rockline. I'm Bob Coburn. We're with Brian May and Roger Taylor from Queen. Let's hit the phones. First call tonight from El Paso, Texas. Caesar is on the line. He's a listener of 95.5 KLAQ. Good evening and welcome.
Hi, Brian, Roger.
Hello, how you doing?
Great. You guys don't know what a thrill it is to talk to you guys. You guys are my favorite band.
Brilliant. Nice to hear that. Thank you.
How's Texas?
My question is, you know how David Bowie re-released his old albums. I wanted to know, I heard there's rumor that Queen's going to be re-releasing their old catalog, and if so, will there be rare tracks, songs that were never released, different versions of old songs? What's going to be on it?
Well, yes, we are releasing the back catalogue. It's been remastered digitally for the CDs now. And I think what the idea is, they're doing some very interesting remixes of some of our old tracks. Like Rick Rubin has just done a sensational remix of "We Will Rock You," and it's like a different song almost. It's so it should be
really
interesting. Yeah, very interesting.
And there are some bonus tracks that are going to be on.
Yeah, we're digging also through the files to see if there's some of that old stuff that never got released that we could put back on there. There are a few unreleased bits and pieces of some of our English radio appearances which might get on there, and a few tracks. The only trouble is a lot of the things that we rejected at the time ought to have been rejected. You know, sometimes you don't want to go back and fish out your.
There was a reason it didn't make the cut to begin with.
That's right, yeah. But there may be a few little gems that make it out there.
Now, the information I have is sometime in March, which is obviously very close, and we'll start with 4 CDs, I think.
That's right. We've been supervising the remastering onto digital of all those. Every album that we ever made, and boy, it sounds so much better on the CD.
We do not have those, but what we do have is a DAT tape recording, digital audio tape, and from Sheer Heart Attack we'll play Killer Queen in just a few minutes.
Great.
From that batch. So, Caesar, thanks for starting us off. Let's go to Jacksonville, Florida now, and speak with John, a listener of Rock 105. Hi.
Hey, Russ.
Hello.
Hi, John. How are
Bob. Roger and Brian, you've both been involved in solo projects. What did you learn from these that you were able to bring back and incorporate into the band?
That's a good one. This is Roger here. One of the things I learned, I think, I had lots of good fun away from the band, but I did learn the strength that we have together in the band, and it's always nice to get back to. It's like home, you know. We have a sort of a magic that happens with the 4 of us in the studio, and when we were on stage, you know. So I think I learnt it's nice to get back home, you know.
Yeah, there is a lot of good stuff that comes about, I think, from getting out into the world again, because we were pretty insular for a lot of our career. You know, the band is working all the time for like 15 years solid. We would tour and then we'd make a record, another tour, another record. And recently, at least, we have had the time to get out and meet other musicians, work with them, and it's great. You do bring back in new blood, there's no doubt about it.
John, another good call. Thank you. Let's move on and talk with Ryan. Ryan is in Sawyer, Michigan, listening to 95 WAOR in South Bend, Indiana. You're on the Rockline, Ryan.
Hi, guys. How you doing?
Fine,
Very well.
Ryan.
My first question's to Brian. I was wondering, last time in Rockline you mentioned you were going to have a solo album out, and I was wondering how it was going and if it was going to be released soon.
Yes, I'm still working on it, I'm afraid. The ongoing saga of the Brian May solo album. Yes, it's still on the cards, and maybe I'm hoping by this summer it'll be finished and I'll put it out. I have a lot of stuff, but it just needs making into an album, you know. It's a difficult task, making a lot of decisions.
And what else tonight, Ryan?
Freddie in the studio.
We missed the first part. Try again.
I wondered, how easy is it to work with Freddie in the studio?
It's wonderful, because he's always full of ideas. I mean, you couldn't ask for more of anyone, really. He's never still, and just very inspiring. And the stuff he's managed to produce out of that instrument that he calls his voice this time round is unbelievable.
I bet you thought he was hard to work with in the studio.
Is that the case, Ryan? Did you think he was difficult?
I was just curious.
No, he's
It's always a pleasure.
He's an inspiration in the studio.
Let's listen to the digital audio tape version of Killer Queen that we have. This is how it's going to sound on the forthcoming CD. Queen, our guest for the full 90 minutes tonight on Rockline.
She keeps them.
Well, there's a lot more clarity there. I mean, it's very audible. You can really hear it.
Yeah, out of the murk of the vinyl comes the real music at last.
We have another song that we have on DAT that we'll play for you a little bit later. Right now we go back to the phones on Rockline. It's an evening with Queen. Russ is waiting patiently for his turn. He's in Memphis, Tennessee, listening to Rock 103. You're on the show, Russ.
How y'all doing?
Very well, thank you.
Great. Greetings from Elvis, Vegas.
Yeah.
Great.
I don't think I can wait for the copy, and I hope y'all do get a chance to play the Great American Pyramid here in Memphis, Tennessee.
Great.
That'd be great.
I'd like to ask y'all one question. Will Queen ever make an album with the inscription, quote-unquote, no sense on it?
Another one with no synthesizers. I think it's highly possible, actually, yeah. Trouble is, synthesizers these days are very much more human, and we regard them as not such an enemy anymore. And, you know, whereas you used to have like a Hammond organ or a piano, then it's quite acceptable to have a synthesizer these days, I guess we think.
They don't have that same mechanical sound that they used to have in the beginning.
Yeah,
they were very limited in the beginning.
We used to have
incredibly limited. That you couldn't even play a chord on a synthesizer when we were making our first albums. You could just play one note at a time, and it just sounded like sort of buzz.
Yeah. We also had an aversion to them because people kept saying that what was on the records was a synthesizer, you know, all these complex vocal arrangements, guitar harmonies, etc. They used to say, oh, it's all done by synthesizers. Oh, excuse me. We just used to have a point of saying, you know, no synthesizers on the album.
Thank you for the call, Russ. Let's find out what Carrie has on her mind. She's in Winnipeg, Manitoba, listening to City FM, and you're on the Rockline with us now, Carrie.
Hi.
Hi,
Hello,
Carrie.
Carrie.
I was wondering, you guys played Live Aid and were fantastic. Will it ever be available on video or cassette?
I don't think it's ever been on a commercial video cassette. There's a few bootlegs knocking around.
Yeah, I think they're releasing here. I know there's a Laserdisc. They're releasing a thing called the Magic Gears soon, which is like a 3-hour, or I think it's something like that, 3 hours of history of us, and they have included bits of that on there. I think that's the only way I know that it would be available. I can't think of another way.
That was not only a landmark show for what it was, what it represented, the monies that were raised and whatnot. It was for you as a band, too. It really served as a catalyst for the group, didn't it? That performance at Live Aid.
It was a good time. I think it did our confidence a lot of good because for the first time we went on without the lights and the big sound system, and even without most of our stage gear, and we had nothing to hide behind. It was just the four of us, and we still got across. So
and
it was
you had
nice
17 minutes. And
yeah.
As they say in the film industry, cut to the chase.
That's right.
That's right.
Get to the good part quick.
Yeah. And it has to be said that Freddie rose to the occasion particularly, you know. We were used to the stadium environment, that helped too.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a great day, and
But
all
the
the atmosphere of the whole day was
unbelievable.
incredible.
Yeah.
You really felt that something great was being done that day.
Yeah, for the right reasons for once in our lives, you know, or once in anybody's life, you know.
Carrie, thank you. We're going to speak with Chad now in Lima, Ohio, listening to WEBN in Cincinnati. And Chad, you're on the air.
Yeah, I was just wondering, I'm a member of Royal Vision, and I was wondering what old songs that you guys have done would you like to play live that you've never played live before?
Well, interesting question.
Ah, that's a good one.
Bohemian Rhapsody would be a good one.
Yeah, we played that.
That's pretty hard.
Done that one a couple of times, yeah.
I would like to.
We could get it right for once. You know?
Yeah. I'd like to play a track on the second album, which you might know if you're in Royal Vision. It's called March of the Black Queen. That would be nice. It would be nice to do that whole side of that album, which all the songs run into one another, as you might know. And that would be nice to do live. We've never.
That'd be interesting.
That.
For those who don't know, Royal Vision is the fan club here in North America. And there's also now a Queen hotline, and we'll give you the number for that at the end of the program tonight for those that might be interested. Chad, thanks. Let's move on now to Tokyo, listener of Bay FM 7.8. This is Alan on the Rockline. Alan, welcome to the program.
Hi, Bob, and here's my question to the members of Queen. You made videos for your music from your early days of your career. When you do write your songs, do you think ahead of the video and then go ahead and write the songs?
I think it's safe to say no.
Yeah.
No. In fact, I think there's a little bit of resistance from us to actually make videos for everything these days because it seems like it's an obligation, and sometimes you don't want to limit the vision of the record to a particular piece of film or video. No, I think the music comes first, and that's all we think about when we're in the studio.
You're very hands-on with your videos, though, aren't you? You
Yes.
don't just franchise them out, so to speak. You remain highly involved in what
Very
you do.
much so. Yeah, we were from the beginning, and we lost a little bit of interest there some years in the middle, but we've been putting quite a lot of work into the new videos. In fact, Freddie is at the moment in London putting together the ideas for the scenario of the next video. So that's what he's doing.
All right, good luck, Freddie, across the big pond there. We're taking a time out. Coming back with Roger Taylor and Brian May of Queen in just a moment. It's Rockline on the Global Satellite Network, and your number is toll-free 1-800-344-ROCK. Welcome back to Rockline. I'm Bob Coburn. We're with Brian May and Roger Taylor of Queen for the full 90 minutes tonight, but I want to take a moment and remind you, coming up on Valentine's Day, we're proud to present a special edition of Rockline with Sting. That's Thursday night, February 14th, beginning at 11 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific. That is a half an hour earlier than we usually start. That will be Thursday night, February 14th, a special edition of Rockline featuring Sting. I'm going to play the title track from Innuendo right now, and it just occurred to me a lot of people may not have heard this yet, and that the CD is literally brand new.
Right.
I mean, it has only been out, you could count it in hours almost. Now, Queen is not known for bringing in outside musicians, but Steve Howe makes an appearance on this track, doesn't he?
That's right, purely by a very fortuitous accident. Yeah, he just happened to be around in Switzerland where we were recording, dropped in, and we were just working on this little Spanish guitar piece in the middle. It turned out he's very good at that sort of stuff, so it instantly seemed like a good idea to get him in to play all the stuff that I can't play. You know?
Oh, yeah, right. Uh-huh.
No, it's true. He's great. He taught me how to play his chromatic runs, so I owe him a big debt now.
Let's listen to it now. This is Innuendo by Queen on Rockline. That is the title track of the new CD by Queen, Innuendo, and I have to admit we slipped into another room and looked at the video while the song was playing, and I think it's pretty safe to assume you spent more than $2 on that. That is
$3.50.
Yeah. $3.50. Yeah, that is a very exotic, incredible video with claymation. Isn't that what that's called?
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And lots of editing, and it looks very high tech, and a lot going on. Look forward to seeing that. That should be out a couple of weeks, I think, here in the States. Is what I heard.
Yes, I'm not sure exactly
Something
how
like
long. I think it depends on Headlong's performance and how everybody feels. Yeah.
Anyway, keep an eye open for it. That's nothing short of spectacular. We go back to the phones on Rockline with our Evening with Queen. It's Enrique in Burbank, California, listener of 95.5 KLOS. You're on the Rockline, Enrique.
Hi, I was wondering exactly how long it took you guys to put together this album and how difficult it was to record it. It sounds very reminiscent of like the Night at the Opera.
Yeah, this is Roger. I'd agree with that, Enrique. I don't know, it took about a year, but what we'd do is we'd go in the studio, we'd work for about 3 weeks, then we'd take 2 weeks off maybe. And the album really was a happy album to make. They're not all as happy as they could be. But it sort of wrote itself. And we didn't have any problems with it at all. And I think it shows in the end result, because the material has sort of depth and maturity to it, I think, and it just runs well. I think it's and in some ways I think we feel that it does remind us of the Night at the Opera days a little bit. Yeah.
Well spotted, as they say, Enrique. Thank you very much.
I think he's right.
Yeah. Let's talk with Mike in Pueblo, Colorado, listener of Kilo 94 in Colorado Springs, and you're on the show with us now, Mike.
Hi, guys. How you doing?
Very well, thank you.
Good. I have a question for you. I was wondering, since you're now with virtually a brand new label, Hollywood Records, I was wondering if Queen considered it an honor that your contracts with Elektra and Capitol were sold to Hollywood Records. Whether you considered it an honor and how you felt about all of it, the fact that you're on a new label, that they would buy, that they would buy your contract.
We're very, very happy to be with them, and I don't think we've ever been so close to a record company in our lives. They have a very good attitude, very open, and it corresponds to our way of doing things. They always want to do things different. They don't want to do anything through the established channels. And up to now, certainly, I think we've benefited more in the last 2 or 3 months of being with Hollywood than the last 5 years anywhere else. So it's a great relationship at the moment. Certainly.
So all the catalog will come out on Hollywood Records then?
That's right,
the entire
everything.
Thing,
yeah.
so,
that's right. We were in the rare position of actually owning all our material back to day one, which I think is very rare. So we were able to give them the whole catalog, and they can redo it all properly.
They bit the whole bullet.
But they bought it, so...
And it is a new company with some new faces and new configurations and whatnot, but you do have the backing of Warner Brothers behind it, so you get the massive distributorship, so you get the best of both worlds.
And also a fantastic pool of talent, because we're next to the animation department. I mean, Walt Disney Animation, the most wonderful... team in the world in that area, and Touchstone Films, of course, is under the same roof, and so that there's room for so much interaction with other talent. It's really a good feeling already being in there.
Yeah, and we want to use. And they're willing to give us the help from all the different departments that we can. So there's lots of potential there.
Mike, thanks for being on with us. We're going to speak now with Brandon in Columbus, Ohio. QFM 96 in Columbus is our affiliate there, and we welcome Brandon to the program.
Hi.
Hi, Brandon.
Hey guys,
I wanted to ask you how you felt about rapper Vanilla Ice borrowing the music from Under Pressure, and did you guys get any compensation?
Did you say borrowing? You mean he's going to give it back?
He can keep it. No, the first thing was we were surprised and shocked, and then we were quite flattered in a way that he made a whole song out of just one riff from one of our songs.
Yeah. Did he have to ask for permission to do
He
that?
should have done, but he didn't.
He should have, but he didn't.
And for this reason, Hollywood Records are suing his white ass off. If I may be so bold.
There might be those listening tonight who think that's a good thing.
He doesn't seem to have an enormous number of friends here for some reason. I don't know why
I think he's too modest. He's just too modest.
Die of modesty, yeah.
Hey, Ice Guy, check with him next time, huh? We're going to play one of those DAT recordings for you right now. This is from A Day at the Races. Tie Your Mother Down, Queen on Rockline. Tie Your Mother Down by Queen. Wow, what a difference.
A few little surprises in there.
Yeah, that must be closer to what you heard when you recorded it in the studio.
Yes, except that is also remixed.
It is remixed.
I forget who's done this, but it was a remix which we had nothing to do with. We gave out a few tapes to people and said, have a go at this. We'll Rock You was one, this is another one. Stone Cold Crazy has also been redone. And some interesting results, I think. So I think a couple of these will be available as bonus tracks as time goes on.
Well, that kept the integrity of the original recording, but it hit you with a couple of surprises in there, I think, that you hadn't heard heretofore. Yeah. We have a Brian on the line waiting to talk to Brian and Roger. He's in Rochester, New York, listening to 96 WCMF. Hi there.
Hi, how you doing?
Hi, Brian.
Brian.
I got a question for you, Brian. It's about the song we just heard, Tie Your Mother Down. Was there a certain experience or a specific story that led you to write the lyrics to that song?
Well, it wasn't about my mum, really. No. Let me think.
Strapped down.
Glad to clear the air on that.
It's a sort of... No, it's really meant to be a story about a sort of young boy's frustration and where it leads him, really. It's as simple as that, It's not as personal as some of the stuff which we've done.
Tokyo. Tetsuo is the listener's name, and he is a listener of Bay FM 7.8. Good evening and welcome.
Okay, this is Tetsuo calling from Tokyo, and I would like to ask a question. How do you select your concert materials? Because you have some songs popular in one country than the other. Do you use different songs for these countries?
Oh, good question. Yes, we do, actually. There are certain songs, as you say, which are more popular in different countries, and we did used to vary the songs that we played. For instance, in South America, there was a song which was a major hit called Love of My Life, which was never a hit anywhere else, so we would always include that, and that became a major part of the show there. Yes, is the answer, I'd say. You think of any more examples?
No, good answer, Roger. Good answer. But basically, I have to say, we would keep to a certain framework of the show for the most part, because it's the stuff that was most in our heads at the time. But, we'd make departures for certain territories. It's very important for people to know that you know where you are, I think. Also in Budapest, we learned a folk song and played that to them. There is a Live in Budapest video somewhere. I don't know if you can get it in this country very easily, but it's might be worth checking out.
I don't think the Hungarians understood a word, though. Freddie had the words written in Hungarian on
it amazes me how you can go to, say, Buenos Aires, to Argentina, and they sing the lyrics to everything.
Incredible. That was a surprise when we first got there. We thought, we were shocked at how many tickets we could sell, because we did all stadia, I should say, out there. And we thought maybe there was a high curiosity value because rock and roll was still fairly new there, strange enough. But in fact, as you say, that we found they knew all the lyrics to the songs that they sang along. So it was a genuine rock audience.
But a lot of them must have been singing words that they didn't know what they meant, which is that they'd learnt them
Just phonetically,
yeah, which is incredible, really.
Amazing. Let's play something new. This is from the brand new CD, Innuendo. If you haven't heard this to me is one of the standouts on this new album. This is called I Can't Live With You, Queen on Rockline. I Can't Live With You, brand new by Queen from Innuendo. It's Rockline on the Global Satellite Network. Our number's toll-free, 1-800-344-ROCK. Only one number for the one and only Rockline. We have Mickey on the line in New York, listener of 92.3 K-Rock. Mickey, you're on the show.
Hi.
Hi, Mick.
Hello, Mickey.
I'd like to ask Roger, how come Sheer Heart Attack, the song, was on the Jazz LP and not on the Sheer Heart Attack album.
Actually, I think it was on the News of the World LP, I think.
It was, yes.
Yeah. But absolutely. Well, when we came up with the title for the Sheer Heart Attack album, and it was a song that I had an idea for, but I hadn't actually finished the song then. And so by the time I got to finish the song, we were 2 albums later. And it eventually struggled out on the News of the World album. It's quite interesting because we were making an album next door to a punk band, the Sex Pistols, and it really fitted into that punk explosion at the time, which was happening right then. So it was actually probably better that it came out on the News of the World album.
They were actually adjacent to you recording?
Oh, yeah.
Strangely enough,
yes. We used to watch TV together.
There's a famous story that Sid Vicious came in and Freddie said, "And who the hell are you? Are you Simon Ferocious or something?"
Simon Ferocious.
And he said, "Oh yes, and you bring ballet to the masses, do you?" So it was quite an interesting meeting.
What an exchange. Oh, my. Mickey, good call. Thanks. Let's talk with Christian. Christian is in Torrance. He's a listener of 95.5 KLOS. Wow, good evening.
Hi, Brian, Roger.
Hi.
Hi, this is an honor. This is incredible. Okay, I have a question concerning Metallica's cover of Stone Cold Crazy.
All right.
I wanted to know what you thought about it, and if you had a chance to talk to the band beforehand, or if it was a bit of a surprise for you guys.
It was. In fact, I only met James last night for the first time at our bash on the Queen Mary, and I think it's very, very good. That's all I can say, really, and very flattered that such a class act should choose a bit of our material.
Should do that. Now, you mentioned the party in the Queen Mary. We should mention that for those who weren't there and didn't know. You literally premiered the CD Saturday night, I guess, and on the ship, the Queen Mary, docked in Long Beach here in Southern California. Yeah. And a unique approach and a nice way to do it. I mean, Queen and the Queen Mary. I mean, that's natural. And, it was quite a party with a big fireworks display. And
that's right. Well, Hollywood Records pulled out all the stops, and
it was
thank
great.
you very
It looked
much
like
to them.
Baghdad, actually.
Looked like Baghdad, yeah. Christian, thank you for the call. We're going to talk with Chris in Columbus, Ohio, QFM 96, our station there, and you're on the Rockline, Chris.
Hey, Brian and Roger, how you doing?
Fine. How are you?
Thank
you. I'm doing great. I'll tell you, this is the most fantastic thing that ever happened to me.
Brilliant. That's great to hear.
Anyways, my question is directed at Roger. You spoke earlier about how videos limit music, and one of your songs, Radio Gaga, you spoke about that. I was wondering, do you still feel that Radio Gaga is as valid now as ever, considering the amount of music, the other types of music that's out there?
That's a good question.
He's on the spot now. Answer that one, Roger Taylor.
Actually, as I'm on the radio right now, I think all radio is absolutely incredible and fantastic. But I don't know. I definitely meant it at the time. You know, I think things were becoming so formularized, and the videos that themselves were. I don't know that it's nice when you hear something on the radio. You can imagine what's happening, and the video in a way provides the imagination and provides the images for you. You know that maybe they'd be more interesting if they were in your head. You know. But that's a good question, and I don't really have an answer for it.
Good call, Chris. Thank you. The next song we're going to play was voted by the British phonograph industry the best single in 25 years. And Dave Stewart of Eurythmics fame said that this song redefined the parameters of what one could do in a song. This is Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen.
Thanks, Dave.
Is this the real life?
One of the all-time great rock and roll songs, without a doubt. From A Night at the Opera, Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen. We're taking a time out. We're coming back with Roger Taylor and Brian May from the band. We're expecting you to come back with us, too. It's Rockline on the Global Satellite Network.
Business owners, find out why both large and...
Welcome back. It's an evening with Queen on Rockline tonight. I'm Bob Coburn. Mike is on the line in Winnipeg, Manitoba, listening to City FM. And now you're on with Roger and Brian from Queen. Mike?
Hi, guys.
Hi, Mike.
Hello, Mike.
How are you doing?
Fine. How are you?
I got two questions here. What was the inspiration for Bohemian Rhapsody, and weren't you scared to release such a long single?
Yeah, Bohemian Rhapsody is mainly Freddie's baby, and he came in with most of that in his head.
You're kidding.
Yeah, wow. that didn't happen by accident. You know, this was Freddie going 1,500 miles an hour. What was the second part of the question?
weren't you scared to release such a long single?
We were advised by everyone that we shouldn't release such a long signal, but
the record company was scared we weren't. But,
yeah, we had the feeling that it was right and that it shouldn't be messed with, that we should go out full length and take the risk.
And it wasn't messed with.
It wasn't messed with, and it worked.
Yeah. Much to your
credit.
But
when Freddie did write that song, he actually did have all those parts in his head, which is quite something.
That's amazing.
I wouldn't want to be in one of his nightmares.
That man needs a hobby quick. Mike, thank you. Let's talk to Robert in Welland, Ontario, listener of Q107 in Toronto. You're on the Rockline, Robert.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Brian.
How you doing?
I'd just like to get that off my chest. I mean, you guys just rule. My question for Brian, now that you're back in the spotlight, will you be endorsing any products, not that you need to, and your thoughts on endorsements like major artists like yourself?
The only thing I'm likely to endorse is a reissue of my guitar that Guild is going to build again, I think. We're not heavily into endorsing things, but we are coming round to the idea that it's not such a bad thing for our stuff to be seen in adverts, which is not quite the same thing.
Yeah.
But like TV commercials and stuff have recently wanted to use a lot of our material, and we used to be very protective, but nowadays we think it's good for the stuff to be aired and heard. So there's a lot of that going on at the moment.
If you do decide to tour in North America, would you consider a sponsor?
Yeah, I think that would happen. I think that will happen if we do.
Now, the positive end of that, a lot of artists tell me, is that it keeps the price of the tickets lower. And to take a big stage show out on the road costs a fortune these days.
Yeah, that's right.
You have a crew of 40 and trucks full of gear and, going from city to city and whatnot. So
yeah, it's a relatively new thing. We always lived beyond our means in terms of touring. We were always spending more than we were making.
Yeah, we never did take a sponsor before. But
that's right. It didn't really exist in those days, I don't think.
Not so much, no. But if it did bring the ticket price down, it's got to be a good thing.
Yeah. Let's play something that features Brian on guitar. This is a definite rock and roll song here. This is called The Hitman by Queen from Innuendo on Rockline. Hit it. The Hitman from Innuendo, Queen on Rockline on the Global Satellite Network. And Bob Coburn. We're with Brian May and Roger Taylor from Queen. And our next caller is Marla in Quakertown, Pennsylvania, listening to 94 WYSP out of Philadelphia. Hi there.
Hi.
Hello, Marla.
It really is a big thrill for me. I've been a fan for 17 years. But
oh, wow.
Great.
Thank you.
Nice to hear you.
I love the new album. But going back one album, the order in which the songs are placed on the Miracle album,
yeah.
It almost sounds to me like it's autobiographical in the growth of a band. I was wondering if that was done intentionally or if it just happened that way.
I see what you mean about with the was it all worth it being the last track? Yeah, I don't think it was that.
It's not quite as specific as that. Yeah. I think we're very often aware that there's more than one meaning to what we're doing. In common with most writers, you can't help but have more than one level in the song. So very often there are allusions to the group's sort of life in the lyrics, and also to sort of personal things, and also to things that you think you can share with your audience. So there is something of that there, though maybe not quite as specific as what you say.
You didn't intend it per se in a linear fashion.
No, I don't think so.
No, but the last track in particular was
it all worth it?
Yeah, final track.
Wrap it up. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a little potted history of the band as well in the lyric of that track.
Mm-hmm. Marla, thank you for the call. We're going to talk now with Jeffrey in Anchorage, Alaska, a listener of K-Whale. Jeffrey, welcome back.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Hi, Jeffrey.
All the way up there.
It's about 16 degrees.
That's hot for up there, isn't it?
Oh, it's really hot.
16 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, not Celsius. Yeah.
Is it true Freddie wrote the song Delilah about his pet cat?
So he tells us, yeah, or maybe he's keeping something from us, I don't know. Yes, next question.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time or the last, I guess, if he's keeping something from you, huh?
That's right, who knows? Yeah, that's the general idea, I think. Meow to you.
Jeffrey, thanks for being on. We're taking a time out. We're coming back with the finale. Stick with us. It's An Evening with Queen on Rockline. Keep yourself alive. Queen, back to the first one on Rockline. Time for one more call tonight. It's Beverly in Simi Valley, a listener of 95.5 KLOS in Southern California. You have the distinction of being the last caller tonight, Beverly.
Hello, this is Beverly. Hi,
Hello,
Roger,
Beverly.
Brian.
Hello, Beverly.
How are you?
We're fine. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Great.
First of all, I just want to let you know that I've been a fan of yours since the beginning, and that your music's always been so powerful and original, unlike any other kind of music.
Well, brilliant. Thanks a lot.
Sure.
Thanks, Beverly.
And my question, I kind of have two questions. My first one's, what originally brought you together as a band, and also, what has kept you together throughout the years?
Wow. Yes. Well, we were brought together. We all went to university in London, but different colleges in London, and we were brought together by common interests. Really, we like the same kind of music. That's how Brian and I met, and Freddie. Indeed, we all used to like Jimi Hendrix and things like that very much. And I suppose that's what brought us together, and what kept us together.
Coming up in 20 years, the same four men.
Yeah, I think what kept us together was actually working on the relationship, because it's like any relationship, it's not always that easy. And we learned to give each other the space and room to breathe and develop that we needed, I think. There's been moments, and also this thing which sounds like a very small thing, that the sharing of the writing credits, things like that really make a big difference. You learn how to just give everyone equal say. Just things like that. We gradually learn to exist together because we value each other's contribution.
Beverly, there you go. Thank you for calling. Thanks to everyone for listening and calling, and congratulations to everyone who got on the air tonight. You'll each receive an autographed copy of Innuendo on CD, courtesy of Hollywood Records. If you'd like to write us at Rockline, our address is P.O. Box 4383, Hollywood, California, 90078. Next week, our guest will be former Triumph guitarist, vocalist, and current solo artist Rick Emmett, plus Mark Slaughter and Dana Strum of Slaughter. Now, Dana's the guy who wrote the Rockline theme, so we're going to talk to him about that and a whole lot more next week. Coming soon, The Fix. They're about to release a new album called Ink. We'll also have the return of The Knack, and then coming soon on Rockline, Scorpions, R.E.M., Pat Benatar and Neil Giraldo, David Lee Roth, and a whole lot more. And remember to join us Thursday, for the 14th Valentine's Day, as we present a special edition of Rockline with Sting at 11 o'clock Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. That is a half an hour earlier than usual. Special thanks tonight to Art Phillips of Hollywood Records, to Christina Anthony and Ben Brooks, also of Hollywood Records, to Jim Beach of Queen Productions, also to the International Queen Fan Club and the Royal Vision Fan Club here in North America. For the latest information on Queen, there's now a Queen hotline that you can call. That number is 213-856-5477. Again, to reach the Queen hotline for the latest information on the band, 213-856-5477. Guys, thanks a lot. It's always a pleasure to have you here, and enjoy your music a lot and your company even more. And come back again, all right?
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
And the other thing I'm going to nail you, you better tour. You're in big trouble here.
All right.
All right.
If you supply the wine, we'll supply the tour.
You owe me one. Speaking of that, as we all have someone drive us home tonight, please don't get behind the wheel and drive home. Just use some common sense out there. I'm BC, and I'll be seeing you in a week.